Remain this frequency, 28 right, echo, echo, cleared for takeoff. 28 right, echo, cleared for takeoff, runway heading, range with limit 3660. Yeah, 204, 28 right, echo, echo, line up and wait. 28 right, echo, echo, line up and wait, now at 204. EC40 103, contact Chicago departure. Departure this morning. Good morning. That was 553, uniform, so left heading 250 on all another current. Left heading 250, guys, 553, uniform. Tower runway 3494. Runway 3494 for now, stand November short of Echo Echo, and we'll work that out. You can expect the full length for departure. November short of Echo Echo, runway 3494. Skywest 553, uniform, turn left heading 220 and contact Chicago departure. Left heading 220, contact departure, Skywest 553, uniform. Yeah, 204, flighting 270, 28 right, Echo Echo, cleared for takeoff. Okay, 28 right and Echo Echo, cleared for takeoff, heading 270, United 204.
Hey, Paul.
How's it, guys?
I like your side of the room, bro.
Hey, finally, as promised, got some color going here. had to pry this baby out of my son's hands because he wasn't too stoked that Daddy's gonna zick his Formula One car for the podcast studio. But
yeah. So if you're wondering what the sort of vibe is, obviously Ryan's side of the studio is his side of the studio, and similar to myself, we've decided to make it all about the kids.
Yeah.
So I got a few sort of random horsies in that here as well. But the kiddies get a big kick out of seeing their stuff on the pod.
They do. I tell you what, it's been quite surprising to see how motivated they are. If I say to them, listen, Daddy needs this for his studio at work, they get stuck in and keen, and it's actually quite cool to see what they come up with. It's,
I dig it.
Yeah, they're very creative and they're always keen to do something cool for Dad.
So tell me, your little boy's big into his Lego, but it would have taken a bit of foresight to have chosen the McLaren Beast.
Yeah, I would say that's a bit of luck, but maybe it was forced. I don't know.
And it also at least one of our colors.
I've actually been pretty stoked the last 2 weekends seeing McLaren coming up on top, thinking that would go down well with this on the desk.
I dig it. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Well, here we are. Podcast 222, and we are live. So if you want to chime in with a comment and anything that's happened the past week that you want to chat about, please feel free to do so. But otherwise, let's jump into it. Is a power bank part of your personal minimum equipment list?
It absolutely is.
I know it is, because you and I are rocking the same cell phones that we bought about 5 years ago now.
And they're power hungry.
And they are power hungry now. So you do not go anywhere without a power bank.
No. I mean, my phone is tantamount to being like like the old days?
Yeah.
Where the phones are attached by cords.
Yeah.
It's a bit like that now. It has to be stuck to a power bank.
Well, just a word of warning. So you better check which airline you're on and see if any rules are changed. But one thing we can guarantee, I'm pretty sure that the rules around power banks on aircraft are going to shift. There's been too many near misses here with fires and all the rest. But airlines now tightening rules on power banks due to the fire risk. The new bans may require them to be kept in the seat pocket. That's okay. A recent incident involved a power bank fire on an Air Busan flight, prompting stricter policies. Many Asian airlines have joined in, but no US or Western airlines have made changes yet. Passengers should always check their rules before flying with power banks. Starting it with that story this week, because it's a real traveler sort of issue. And it's one of those things where if they do go and change the rules, you're not going to know about it. Then you're going to rock up at the airport, go through security with your power bank, and they're going to say, leave it here in the box.
Yeah.
And you know where that's going to end up.
Yeah. The second-hand power bank market outside the airport is that's gonna become a rocking business.
It's going to be on fire. Yeah.
Because what do you think the coffee tastes like at the boss's office at United Airlines?
Yeah. Are you speaking about the infamous lost passport or forgotten passport?
Yeah, because he must be having coffee with the boss this week.
At best. Yeah. If you haven't noticed the name of our show today, kind of give it away. But this poor sucker. Has this ever happened to you, by the way? Have you ever been after wheels up? Do you also get the thing, but I get it more, not so much when I was flying, but certainly as a passenger.
Yeah.
When just as wheels up, I think, did I take this? And I'm going through like the list in my head, and I'm sure it's all in there. But this poor sucker, passengers on a United Airlines flight to Shanghai had to divert back to San Francisco because a pilot forgot his passport. They were initially given food vouchers, those are the packs, of course, worth $15, then later $80 in refreshment vouchers due to the delay. The airline has now offered them $175 in future travel credit as compensation. Some passengers feel the amount is insufficient. I think it is. In the US, airlines are not required to provide cash compensation for delays, unlike in Europe. But I do have a bit of sympathy there for the pilots as well.
You must feel like real caca.
Yeah. Imagine the passenger announcement.
Yeah.
Hello, folks, from the flight deck.
You're not going to like me very much, but I'm about to wreck your day. Oh, no, shit. But like, when I was actively flying, I had 2 passports. I was clever. Yeah. So I had one at home and one in my flight bag. Anyway, but still.
And the one lived in your flight bag. Yeah, maybe, but you never know. Maybe this guy had that situation, but the visa for wherever he was going or whatever the story might not have been just a Gendex situation. I don't know.
Yeah, they were headed to China or something.
Yeah. That's what I say. I
Yeah.
don't know what the rules and regs are there.
Yeah.
For US pilots. But anyway, yeah, our sympathies go out to that poor guy. I assume it's a guy. Girls probably wouldn't make that mistake.
No. Didn't you like have like would you still do it now when you're going to travel? Like have like a bit of a checklist that you go through, make sure you've packed everything.
I do, but do you find that in modern times that checklist has changed? I've just said with the power banks, and something I don't leave with. Before it was pretty straightforward. Used to feel both pockets, always carried the keys and the wallet in the same pocket, cell phone in the other one.
Yeah.
And if I got that, I know I can. You know me.
Spectacles.
Spectacles, testicles, wallet and watch, and passport.
Yeah. And power bank.
You know me. I'm big into my EDC, everyday carry.
Yeah.
So I've got a bag, like a man bag, with a little with a 40 caliber in it. And you got your basics in there, and I'm like lost without that. But now when you travel, of course, that's not going with, and then you've got to make sure that all that stuff the AirPods, the few extra things. And one thing I've realized as well,
there's only one thing you're missing in that everyday carry bag, because I've seen your bag and I know what's inside there.
Yeah.
It's one of those red ribbons,
yeah,
like old Rambo.
Yeah.
Rambo Roseveare.
I've got nearly everything else. I like being prepared. And I've realized if you've got everything, you'll never need anything.
Yeah.
If you'll never need it. But the day that you don't take it with, then you need the stuff. So that's where I am. But yeah. Anyway, this poor guy, definitely ended up with a chat with the chief pilot, and one wonders.
Yeah, I know.
Bit of a disciplinary hearing going on there, I'm sure.
I'm sure you'll just be a slap of the knuckles and no, don't do that again.
Yeah. Let's head back local. Roger Foster, the outgoing CEO of Airlink, believes the single African air transport market, SAATM, is now beyond rescue. He expressed disappointment at the lack of progress after 38 years of effort. 38 years of effort is no small feat.
No. No.
These things always amaze me. You hear about these things at the conferences. They speak about this, whatever this is supposed to be, an alignment of the African continent for, to make travel easier and all the rest. But it just doesn't work. Many African governments remain hesitant to fully adopt this, leading to ongoing challenges for airlines. Instead, some countries are forming their own bilateral agreements to promote open skies. Foster suggests that a new practical approach is needed for aviation growth. Was one of his sort of outgoing speeches there. But maybe that's the end of the single African air transport market. Africa is... The whole world is going towards nationalism again, as opposed to globalization.
Very much.
And everyone's sort of tying it. We'll sort ourselves out. You sort yourself out. So this whole these things are sort of collapsing. I just wonder if they're more sort of talking points. They're nice things to talk about when you at a conference or something, because it sounds all
hoity-toity,
yeah, it's sort of almost got a woke element to it, this uniting all this, but it doesn't do anything. It just, particularly in Africa, things like that just don't ever seem to work. Moving on from that, South African Airways, we did mention last week a strike. I don't think they were actually on strike. In fact, they weren't. There was just a bit of a go slow.
They are. They're sort of planning to. But it looks like the pilots got their way.
Yeah.
There was an agreement that they made.
Yeah.
But they don't mention what the settlement was. Funny enough.
Yeah, where the money's coming from.
Where they offer double pay or interesting.
Let's see what it says. South African Airways pilots have ended their industrial action. After accepting the new salary benefit package, the agreement concludes the 2024 wage negotiation. Does that mean they're getting back pay?
Probably. They always get back pay.
Yeah. John Lamola expressed his happiness with the pilot's decision and their commitment to the airline. Operations are returning to normal. Partnership between SAA management and pilots aims to enhance customer experience and support economic growth in South Africa.
Okay.
You want to leave that one and carry on?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Bryan Air CEO executive Michael O'Leary met with Boeing's commercial chief and feels confident there will be no aircraft tariffs from the U.S. government. He believes Boeing is on track to recover from recent safety issues and secure certification for the MAX 10. If the MAX 10 is not certified this year, Boeing has promised to deliver alternative jets by summer 2027. O'Leary mentioned improvements in Boeing's production quality, blah, blah, blah. I just want to go back to that last thing there. So if they don't get it certified, Boeing have to then pitch up with an alternative. So does that mean,
what?
I don't know, does that mean bringing out some 737-400s or something?
No, I don't know. But obviously, I think Boeing is getting lang support now from the Trump administration. You see that he's ordered some new military jets from Boeing.
Tell me about that. You were telling me about that earlier. I didn't see an awful lot, but
he made a massive announcement just earlier this week where he's given a contract, and apparently this is the first contract ever awarded to Boeing directly for the purchase of fighter jets. So this thing now is going to be what they call a generation or sixth generation fighter, the F-47. Oh,
sounds cool.
Does F-47, F-47, yeah. So
that's is it like an upgrade of the Raptor?
Must be. But we were watching that video of that Sukhoi earlier on.
There was a display I was showing Ryan, the Sukhoi display. What is that one? It was from the aircraft from Top Gun.
Yeah.
The enemy aircraft from Top Gun. And that thing was doing a display in China. It's unbelievable. That's you watch a display on YouTube, it doesn't really ever. But this one is really, really good. That aircraft is something else. And if this new, what's it, F-47?
F-47, yeah.
Is a notch up above that, that'll keep things interesting.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And it'll keep Boeing employed. So
Yeah, keep them in business. Where to next? The UK CAA. This is to do with Pakistan International Airlines about resuming flights to UK airports amid safety concerns. That airline's had its fair share over the past, and it seems like there's a divided front whether or not we should be letting them fly in European skies or not.
yeah.
2 safety incidents involving PIA aircraft have raised alarms. One incident involved an A320 landing on a closed runway in Lahore, while another involved missing tire during landing. So that obviously fell off in the air. The CIA will review PIA safety protocols again in May or June before making a decision.
What do you mean you land on the wrong runway?
Would you fly with them?
Uh-uh.
No.
No.
Not going to happen.
Negative.
Staying in the UK, they March the 2nd, 26th of March. That was a couple of days ago. And Embraer 195E2 became the largest aircraft to land at London City. It was operated by Helvetic Airways and flew from Zurich. I didn't realize that runway was so short. I mean, I know 195 is not a small aircraft, but I assumed that aircraft like that could land there pretty easily.
Isn't Gatwick that airport where they've got a very high glide slope gradient? That's like a dive and drive type approach.
Is it Gatwick or London City?
I don't know. I've never been to the UK, so I don't know them.
I assume it's London City.
It must be London City. Yeah,
I'm sure one of our esteemed listeners.
I think it is London City. Yeah. Okay.
Shoot us a comment if you know. I'm sure it's London City. Gatwick is in the Bundus there, sort of.
Is it?
No, not really, but in terms of the UK, it is. The Swift Air 737 crash. Lithuanian prosecutors want to question the pilots of the 737-400 that crashed last year. Preliminary findings suggest a hydraulic issue may have caused the accident. The plane crashed while approaching Vilnius on November the 25th last year, killing one of the 4 crew members on board. Investigators believe human error and improper maintenance may be involved. A request has been made to Spain to help gather evidence for the investigation. You may have noticed Ryan and I have sidestepped the sort of handful of horrific accidents this last week. Not going to get onto it on the show. But these, even when it's an incident and, like this poor pilot, he's got to go now explain, and there was a death in this praying, and, one can only imagine the scrutiny you'll come under when you try and explain what actually happened, and then you look at yourself or hear yourself on the cockpit voice recorder and all the rest, and it must be a very difficult thing to do. Here's Mark showed us a message. He says it is London City.
Okay.
5.5 degree.
Yeah, 5.5 degree approach to London City. I knew it was something pretty hectic.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Mark Mason. Mark, it's like, what time is it there?
It's beer o'clock.
Is it?
Must be beer o'clock in Australia.
Nice to have you here, Mike. Thanks for joining us. Right. Airbus unveils the next-gen single-aisle aircraft committing to hydrogen. The aircraft is expected to fly by the late 2030s. These dates are always bullshit. They just throw out a date there, and it never happens. It's all about sustainable aviation. It features innovative design elements like folding wings for improved aerodynamics. Airbus plans to start testing hydrogen propulsion systems in 2027. The company remains committed to decarbonizing aviation despite challenges in achieving its hydrogen aircraft goals. We aren't the best people in the world to chat about the sustainable aviation fuel side. But what I can tell you is that has just been a buzzword over the last few years. There were podcasts made. I mean, there was an aviation podcast made about that did like 3 episodes because the Oak obviously realized there's nothing to talk about this. and what amazes me with that article So they're going to fly these things by 2030. They don't even have the engines for it yet.
No,
They're going to have the engines out by 2027.
sort of pipe dream.
And yeah, it's just not going to happen. Good news for South African packs on Emirates, because Emirates is adding retrofitted Boeing 777s to flights to 8 new cities, Joburg and Cape Town included. And those aircraft will have premium economy, the premium economy product. The airline is expanding its destinations with upgraded cabins. More aircraft are being updated through the retrofit program. Some of those 777s there must be on the tired side of...
Jeez, bro.
Huh?
Heavy. Yeah.
Heavy.
There's plenty mileage.
No, there's heavy mileage there.
Yeah.
Lots of farts in those seats on that.
Yeah, but they're replacing them. Well, I mean, they're also
they are
the 350s.
They grow, but I mean, they're growing so rapidly that they can't just, they basically are adding them on as opposed to replacing, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
No Doge cuts at NTSB. You know all about Doge.
Yeah. That's
Speaking of Doge, did you see that the Doge coin yesterday, the crypto coin, when it went
ballistic? Yeah.
NTSB has kept its workforce intact despite federal downsizing efforts. Chair Jennifer Homedy reports that the agency has 427 employees and is currently handling around 1,250 accident investigations. I posted this story last night to X. I'm trying to, if you want to see this, our stories, what we chat about, sort of broken up, I'm putting it there on my X profile, just because I've got to put it somewhere. We need it for the pod anyway, so I'm just chucking it there. It's like accessible, and I put that story on, and then like 30 seconds later, this NTSB Jennifer Homedy asked to follow me. I thought, shit, what did I say here? Is there something wrong?
Yeah,
but no, it was good.
Yeah, we mentioned last week the partnership with the Virgin Atlantic and Joby.
Oh
yeah. So Ethiopian have cottoned onto that, and they've opened up a pathway to launch an eVTOL travel with Archer Aviation. Zach, is this now becoming a thing? The airlines are,
I suppose,
all spying this eVTOL thing as the next best thing and want to get a piece of that action.
Are they trying to align with so the whole thing with this eVTOL is that you've had the Jobies and Archers, they've run off, they've done their own thing, and now I suppose it's easier for an airline like United or Ethiopian to align themselves with one of the startups than it is to go start something themselves, I suppose.
Yeah.
So hopefully aligning with them to take them over at some point if it becomes a thing. You still have your doubts about the whole eVTOL thing. Again, it's a little bit like a buzzword, the sustainable aviation fuel.
But I do believe that that's going to become a thing in the future, whether it's 5, 10, or 15 years from now, definitely. I just thought of something. Like, it would make sense if the airlines have something along those lines in place. Because now if you offered an eVTOL pickup from your hotel or your house to the airport to catch your long-haul flight to wherever, and you chuck another, I don't know, $500 on the ticket price there, makes a moolah.
Yeah. Business opportunity.
Thank me later.
You can pivot to eVTOL Uber setup.
Yeah.
Flying Magazine's quite a cool magazine. Lately, I've been looking at their stuff. Article here, getting an airline job has become more challenging. Airlines are now more selective due to a large number of applicants. While 1,500 flight hours are needed, having 2,000 hours, especially with turbine experience, can help. Some pilots even pay for additional certifications to stand out. Networking and timing can also play a big role in landing a job. What's your take with this? It's becoming more difficult to get an airline job because you hardly need 1,500 hours. Obviously, they're speaking about the States, yeah? There's not exactly a huge amount. And we've seen a couple of incidents lately in the States in particular. There was a Tucker Carlson interview the other day. What was the lady's name? I I forget the name.
I forgot her name as well.
Anyway, you can go across to Tucker and have a look there. It's a bit divided. A lot of people said she's 100% accurate. She does raise some points that without doubt are accurate. There's no question about that. But she's probably also a bit sensationalist in what she's saying on other things. But correct me if I'm wrong. If you take our situation, let's take you and me. I don't suppose you too interested in going to go take a gig as an FO somewhere, other than, I'm not talking about the big carriers, the big Middle Eastern carriers, or anything to do with long career prospects. But if you had to take something like let's call it a stepping stone type of airline role, you would want to join as a skipper, no?
At this stage of life, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
But let's say let's go local here, South Africa. Your demand for what you would want as an FO, if you had to take an FO position, would probably be more than what the airline would be willing to give you. So are the airlines taking as inexperienced pilots as they possibly can?
I think
for
that
the cost-saving benefit.
I think that has been a thing.
Yeah, it has.
I think it has been a thing.
Sort of quietly. No one advertises that.
Look, it makes sense from the bean counter's point of view, I suppose. Airlines are operating on thin margins as it is, so it's a clever tactic. But it does eventually catch up with them because at the rate that experience is leaving, I think it catches up.
Part of the Tucker Carlson interview,
Captain Sherry Walker was her name.
Sherry Walker.
Yeah. She raises a good point, I think.
Yeah, she raises a lot of good points. There were a couple of points there about the younger generation. I don't know if you listened to the whole thing, but the younger generation of pilots getting into the unions and that now, so they sort of controlling things on the union side as well. But the one thing, and the reason I'm asking the question, so you're looking at things like 1,500 hours for these jobs in the UK. I think even less here locally. You spent a lot of time, and so did she actually, because she mentioned this on the show. She spent years and years and years as a first officer.
Yeah.
And during those years as a first officer, although you aren't the one making the decisions and you're learning. You're learning
the good parts, the bad parts. You're forming your own idea of how you would be as a captain one day, and it's invaluable experience.
You're learning all the time.
Yeah. So
a diversion happens. How do you handle it? What do you say to the packs on the other side? It's a non-familiar airport. How do you go about it? And over the years, you can be a first officer for 10, 15 Spurries. I mean, that was 20 years. The guys were sitting as first officers there.
But that was different because the first officers were getting...
It was different.
Getting a lot of tin.
But still, they're still flying with experienced skippers, learning a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
And obviously now it's totally different. You're spending the minimum amount of time as a first officer, and then you're being promoted to a skipper relatively early, and then you're asked to make all these decisions. And so you wonder, are you going to see more? Are you going to see more of these sort of leaving your passport at home type of mistakes in the future because of the experience levels and, little mishaps along the way, taking off, mistaking the runway edge lights as center lights, and not saying those are factors, but, time will tell, I suppose. Wonder what your take is. Let us know. It's an interesting subject nonetheless. Last story for today. Fighter jets were alerted to intercept a plane that stopped communicating. SAS Connect plane was later met by armed police on the ground. The pilot faced serious consequences for the incident. He was fined $5,000 USD. Sounds like a Probably had to switch off or something. Hey, oops, it's an expensive mistake. Though.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What's happening this weekend, pal?
Sports-wise, nothing. I think all the Formula One teams are moving across to Japan. They'll be racing next week. Red Bull are still trying to decide who they're replacing with Jim Lawson. Looks like old Yuki Tsunoda is gonna.
Yeah, he was a better bet anyway. I mean, Japanese. It's the Japanese Grand Prix. Yeah. Honda engines.
Yeah, there's some funny jokes going on about that. Is really like Max's car, which is the size of this thing, and then Yuki's car.
Yeah. Red Bull are. To be Max's teammates is not the easiest thing in the world. But I think that Lawson just doesn't look like he was anywhere near where he needs to be.
Wasn't ready for that gig. Yeah.
I got a cool weekend coming up anyway.
Yes, you do.
Taking a couple of days off. Oh, by the way, can you handle all my incoming emails? Can you?
Wasn't that the bomb you dropped on me 2 days ago? Like, by the way,
FYI.
Yeah. So you're hooking it to Sun City now for a couple of days, then you get back, and then you're going straight to Paris.
Yeah.
So, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Nice.
But the pod is Paris is short. So it's there and back.
Okay.
But Sun City, I'm going to go chill for a few days.
Okay.
Yeah, the kids love it there. If you feeling, I think we all are feeling a bit sort of under the weather, particularly with like South Africa at the moment, the government, everything.
Yeah.
It
all sucks.
Sun City is a cool place to go. It gives you like a renewed bit of vummer there, because it does kind of make you love the country again, and then you leave the gates and it's all back to normal. But at least you have 4 days or 3 days of hopefully some sunshine and South African hospitality.
It's crazy like how things are here. My brother and my dad drove down to Hoedspruit this morning. My boat's got a gig down there this weekend, and asked him, which way are you going to drive? No, they're going to go this way. I'm like, hey, bro, the last time I drove that road, there was potholes the size of elephants. Like, rather go the long way around. It's going to add an extra hour and a half to your journey, but it's, probably a little bit safer pothole-wise.
Yeah.
When you're planning your road trips around potholes, fucking place.
Not Ayoba. Thanks, Mark, for joining us on the show. Yeah, it's 7:49 there in Australia, he said.
Told you, beer o'clock.
Yeah, the BAP is my Friday evening entertainment these days. Mark's in the same boat. We don't do anything anymore. Mark, if you're at home Friday evening and you're waiting for us, go out and have a beer.
Shout for joining us, Mark.
Thanks
Appreciate
for joining us, Mark. And Sean Peters as well. Just listened to your previous live episode this morning. Greetings from Paradise, Bangui contract flying. Thanks, Sean.
Yes.
Love messages like that.
Yeah. Enjoy the contract. Stay safe. And Bangui, all of a sudden Pretoria doesn't sound that bad.
No. What's it like there? What's it like there, Sean? Yeah. Huh? You been?
I've been close to Bangui. It's in the Central African Republic.
Get out a map. Don't know where it is. As I said, I'm off to Sun City. What I have been doing, Paul, is for our Patreon supporters, I've been putting out a daily brief of the day's news stories. Because what I found, obviously, with the pod, it was far easier now doing it, because instead of like we did in the past, where it was like cram learning before the exam the night before, getting all the stories, we just collect. We've got a much better way of collecting everything these days.
Yeah.
So collect all the stuff and then, putting it out daily. So if you are a Patreon or a YouTube member, paid YouTube member, then you get those extra videos let's call it every other day, but quite a lot more content if you want to see more of my ugly mug. But thanks for joining us on the show. Thanks, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a lovely weekend ahead. And from myself and Ryan, goodbye for now.